Ending. Okay, thank you, Deo, for recording the session. So it's already 7:56, so we will just wait for 4 minutes more so that we can start on time. Maybe others are still coming in. So may I request those who are present, if possible, if you can open your camera and say hi, greet each other, so that they will be, anyway, we are just few, so we can start knowing each other while waiting for our friends to come in. So first, yes, Father Jojo, you have something to say?
No, just to say that it's good to see Dr. Richard, my friend here. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have
Thank you,
also
Dr.
also
Richard, for your time. Yeah.
yes. And then his son
For being with us.
will join
Yeah.
us, yeah.
I read your um, CV. It's very well experienced and exposed to different agricultural and economic activities and development. Yeah, and
Don't believe too much.
I'm
It's just
excited now
paper, yeah.
to hear and listen and learn, because I'm interested with this agriculture and economics. Because many of our young people now are not engaged with this kind of work and engagement. Okay, so I'm Rowella. I am connected with the Institute of Formation and Religious Studies in Manila. And I am also, I like agriculture. I like farming because I grew up from a farming community in the southern part of Cebu. It's an island of the southern Philippines.
Not too far from us.
Yeah.
Hi, good evening po.
Okay, please feel free to greet each other. We are starting in 2 minutes.
Yes.
I'm sure you will be sharing later.
Yeah.
Hi, good evening. I'm Jessica Almoneda from Bicol region. I'm
Oh.
currently working in Department of Agriculture Research Division, and I'm invited by my uncle Ramji Almoneda. So,
Mhm.
so I'm very happy to join this seminar.
Wow, excellent. Thank you.
Welcome, Jessica.
Thank you.
Hello, good evening.
Yes.
Yes, Grace, please.
Yes, good evening, and it's nice to see some of the alumni of the All Forum program here. Wait here. So Shira Edralin, and I think Hong An, Grace.
Welcome, Grace.
Sister Tabi.
Oh, sorry, it's different Hong An. Because we have alumni Hong An also.
Okay.
Okay, I see the time is at 8 o'clock.
Yes, it's already 8 o'clock. So we
Yeah,
are
and
going
then
to start the conversation.
um,
So before I will give the screen to Dr. Richard and for the conversation, for the input, we would like to invite everyone to be in the presence of God. We need the presence and the grace of God to guide us, to give us the accompaniment as we discuss, share the topics for this evening's session. Creator God, we thank you for this opportunity to gather online. We thank you for the presence of each one. And we also acknowledge the presence of all other creatures around us that you have created and gifted each one of us. We hope and pray that the Holy Spirit will guide us always, especially this evening, as Dr. Richard will share about sustainable agriculture in his context. And this session will also give us insights and learnings so that we'll be able to advocate more. We're going to do it also in our own context. All this we do for your greater glory through Christ our Lord. Amen. In the name of the
Amen.
Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. So our resource speaker this evening is from Sabah, Malaysia. Is Dr. Richard Gunting. So I don't know how I shall pronounce Datuk Richard Gunting.
Correct. Yeah.
He
Just Richard
has
Gunting, yeah.
Richard Gunting. Okay.
Yeah.
So he had the very wide experience and education in the field of agriculture economics. He has the bachelor's in agriculture economics, master of science in agriculture economics, and the doctorate PhD in agriculture economics in University of Tennessee in the United States of America. And Dr. Richard also is a lecturer, a chief planner, executive director, and also engaged in writing and presentation of the different papers in the field of management, politics, eradication of poverty, development, and in agriculture. And Dr. Richard is also into business venture. And this business venture is not just any venture, but this is more in the development of ecotourism and farming and ecotourism, and also the development of community-based, the same ecotourism, and in the diversified integrated farming. And we can hear more of these things that I mentioned when he will be presenting to us this evening the topic on sustainable agriculture in the community in Sabah, Malaysia. So welcome, Dr. Richard, to this session. And thank you for coming and sharing your time with us. Okay, so please,
Thank you
the screen is
for
yours.
thanks for the introduction. As you notice, the paper is titled Sustainable Agriculture, but I grew up that time we were practicing shifting cultivation, what we call a traditional farming. What the paper attempt to do, how we could transition this traditional farming into regenerative farming. And for that, we have model farms of 15 acres, but focus on 2 hectares now. And we have a team here actually. Myself and my youngest son, Virgil Gunting, I give him the liberty to present our paper to the rest of you. And if I feel that I can add something after his presentation, I will come in and add. If not, we will leave this thing to, if we have a discussion later after the presentation, then we'll do so. So I now invite Virgil Gunting to present our paper.
Hello, everyone. First and foremost, I would like to wish all of you magandang gabi po. My mother-in-law is Filipino, so we have to try and practice a little bit of it
Oh,
sometimes. Yeah. Okay, so
magandang gabi.
I'll just share the slideshow. All right. Can you guys see the slideshow going on?
Yep.
Okay, so the paper is actually titled Sustainable
Yes, yes.
Agriculture, Traditional to Regenerative Farming in Sapulut, Sabah. And actually, Father Jojo has asked us to present this in the Principles of Laudato Si. And I've read the encyclical, and it basically Pope has it's to criticize consumerism and irresponsible economic development, claimants to environmental degradation, and also global warming. And most importantly, it's the call for everyone in the world to take swift and unified global action, which is very important in today's agricultural industry, especially the industrial agriculture faction. So we will be covering 7 subtitles today. I've been told we've only been given 15 minutes, so I'll try to run through, maybe spend 2 minutes on every subtitle, but spending a little bit more time on adopting regenerative farming and the Munor Aulai integrated farm. Okay. So first, as an introduction, traditional farming, especially in the Sapulut area, we have been using the shifting cultivation method, which is no longer practical or suitable. The need to gradually transition into sustainable methods of farming, and henceforth, we have the case for the Munor Aulai integrated farm. So shifting cultivation or slash and burn methods of farming had been practiced by the Muruts for hundreds of years, even up until today. I often say to my guests, our agricultural practices have not really improved until very recently, where people have started going into very industrial farming. And I will explain why in the case later. So, in the past, there was no land limitation. We could slash, burn, and then this carbon would then regenerate the soil, and that would make it fertile because, as opposed to common belief, actually rainforest soil is not the topsoil is not very thick. So to do intensive agriculture is not very doable. So in the past, they had no land limitation. We would slash, burn, harvest, and then leave it for nature to take back. We also the Murut people are also a bit weary of risk. So they do things that they already know and it works for them. And for hundreds of years, it has worked up until recently. And they are unaware of other methods of farming, and essentially they have no concern for negative externalities of farming to the surrounding environment. You must imagine this as well. 50 years ago, which is not too long ago, everything was lush and green around. So even if they slash and burn, it does not seem to have much impact on their rivers, on their land, or even air quality. So these are examples of slash and burn that has been going on. We live in a very hilly terrain and we can only plant hill rice. But you can see that they would clear the land and then they would burn it. And from the ashes, they would then plant the hill rice. Now, they also plant other cash crops like tapioca, corn, and also some vegetables. So shifting cultivation had been increasingly faced with challenges in the last 50 years. One, land limitation due to the deforestation from the logging industry, and also FMU, or what we call forest management units, into native customary right land areas. Number two, there is an increasing trend of land ownership for native titles within the natives of Sabah. There's a gradual shift from shifting cultivation to sedentary farming because now the land is titled. They can't move from area to area as freely as they could before. And there's also availability of state and federal cash crop planting programs, such as rubber, oil palm, cocoa, coffee, and other cash crops. Low crop productivity is unable to meet their subsistence need and the need for income generation. For example, when they plant rice, as families get bigger, because now we have healthcare and modern medicine, even their one cycle of rice planting is not enough to fulfill that family's needs for the entire year. The majority of the Murut households are poor in the Nabawan districts, in whose monthly income is below the poverty line of 2,589 per household per month. This is the Malaysian PLI, and I've converted that to pesos, which is about 33,327. Many still have the perception that farming will not improve their livelihood. In Malaysia, when you say you want to be a farmer, there's a certain stigma that hangs around it, unfortunately. Most, if not all, of the government programs are using a top-down approach, which is not really effective in achieving the objective. Using monocropping of rubber, oil palm, cocoa, coffee, etc. Basically, smallholders copy what the big plantations do. And how we do big plantations is we learned it from the British. It was highly efficient monocrop to achieve the highest yield, but at the same time, it has no consideration for natural capital or natural surrounding environment. Very little consideration is given to the potential negative environmental impacts in respects to methods of cultivation. There's a heavy dependence on inorganic fertilizers, chemical pesticides, herbicides, and fungicides, and how farming transition is managed from traditional to sustainable farming. These government programs have not succeeded much, especially in the Sapulut Center, because, as I've told you earlier, most of the households here are still below the poverty line. And most of the Murut's households still practice shifting cultivation in their own or their relatives' land. There is a need to transition from shifting cultivation and monocropping farming to more sustainable farming, especially now. These are just some facts from the Department of Statistics Malaysia. It shows that Sabah has the highest incidence of absolute poverty and the highest incidence of hardcore poverty by state. In Malaysia, we have about 348 districts, and the top 10 poorest, 8 out of 10 of those is located in Sabah. One is located in Kelantan, which is another state, and one is located in Sarawak, our neighboring Bornean state. So there are 4 key elements or pillars when we consider sustainable farming methods. We have agroforestry, we have agroecology, we have permaculture, and also regenerative farming. And for us in Sapulut, for the Munor Aulai case, we have chosen the pillar of regenerative farming because it best suits our situation and land. So what is regenerative farming? It is basically a holistic approach that aims to restore and improve soil health, promote biodiversity, and enhance the ecosystem services, ultimately resulting in a more sustainable and resilient agricultural practice. The 5 principles of regenerative farming are minimizing soil disturbance, like not using machinery to till the soil and disturb the top surface of the soil and mycorrhizae, minimizing the use of chemical inputs which can damage and degrade the soil, plants, and even human health, maximizing biodiversity of animals, plants, and microbes, because these are all part of the environment and they all have a key role in keeping the environment balanced. Keeping the soil covered with crops as long as possible, and also adapting to the local environment. Now, regenerative farming will enhance soil moisture retention, lower carbon dioxide concentration in the atmosphere. There's actually a very good documentary going out now called Kiss the Ground, and it actually promotes how mycorrhizae in the soil is one of the most efficient ways to biosequester carbon dioxide from the atmosphere and turn it into usable goods which plants can use and which benefits us. Number 3, we sustain the soil composition to combat soil deterioration. And also number 4, we improve the crop performance and overall biodiversity. Many people think by going green, especially in Malaysia, because we're so used to the plantation way of doing things. Many people believe that by going green, you actually reduce your yield. But many research has shown around the world that by going through sustainable and regenerative farming, in the long run, you would actually increase your income by 88% on average. So this is the location map of the district of Nabawan, where Sapulut is located in. And as you can see, we are south central of Sabah, which looks a bit like a dog's head if you think about it. And we are on the border to Indonesia, Kalimantan. So the Munor Alai Integrated Farm is only about 6 hectares in the whole title. We have young secondary forests because our elders have all chopped down our forests and planted rice there before through shifting cultivation. It has generally poor soils and it is rocky in most area of the land. Now, by optimizing the land use, our model farm consists of about 2 hectares. We have also fish ponds, which are generally done on unplantable areas of about 1 hectare total. We have a mixed crop orchard of about 1 hectare, comprising of various fruits, and unplanted areas and infrastructure amounting to about 2 hectares. So the farming method we use is integrated regenerative farming. The objective is to optimize the land use and capacity to generate optimum revenue per hectare. The farm activities are integrated into the thin-out secondary forests, about 30 to 40% forest cover, because these are all young trees growing back. Crops planted, the main crops are including cocoa, agarwood, black thorn durian, which is a very high value durian. And the activities yet to be integrated will be free-range chickens, beekeeping, organic fertilizer production, and these activities will rebuild and enhance the soil fertility, biodiversity, and the ecosystem services. Now, in our mixed crop orchard, there is a clear felling of very young secondary forests, which is generally bushy forests. We incorporate high-value durians such as the Musang King, the D24, Tembaga, Dalit, red and yellow durians. Other crops comprise mangosteen, pomelo, mango, jackfruit, and pineapple. Now, the mixed orchard optimizes the land capacity to produce and generate optimum profit per hectare. The crop selection will not only provide higher value, but also soil cover and rebuilding the ecosystem services, biodiversity, and carbon sequestration from the atmosphere. Free-range chicken, beekeeping, ducks, vermiculture, which is the growth of worms, and also organic fertilizer production using the Johnson-Su bioreactor will be integrated progressively. We also have the fish ponds, and right now we have a total of 12 fish ponds with a flow-through system, and we are blessed by God and nature that we have a very it's a never-ending stream. Even during the very dry months, this stream still provides us with fresh water, so we can use that and make a flow-through system for the ponds. Right now, all except 6 ponds are rested, and new stocks will be put into these fish ponds after they are rested, and it will include high value fish like pelian. Pelian in Sarawak, it's called empurau, and the Chinese have a nickname for it there. It's called wang puliao, meaning once you eat it, you cannot forget it. And 1 kilo is minimum 700 ringgit to even 1,200 ringgit. We also will incorporate the salarong fish, which is it only exists in this part of Borneo actually, and it is the most favored fish of the Murut people. We will also put in gurami, sultan, tilapia, catfish, etc. Our fish ponds are dug out of unplantable rocky areas to optimize the land use and also production. We try to minimize as much idle lands in our farm as possible because we have only so much limited land, right? The freshwater fish culture enhances the biodiversity, ecosystem services, while the overflow water from the ponds will be used to irrigate the farm and the crops. And this water will be more nutrient rich than just fresh water because it will have the nutrients come in provided by the fish. Now, the unplanted areas, we will be using it for pig farming using the odorless system, dairy cows using a feedlot system, vermiculture, organic fertilizer production, organic vegetables and herbs. Waste like cow dung and pig dung will be used for the production of organic fertilizer, and tree crops, including jackfruit, soursop, guava, avocado, will be planted to provide shade and ground cover. This is an adjacent activity to our farm. So when you do sustainable farming as well, you can diversify your revenue stream. And for us, we also do agro-tourism with it. And here, the guests will participate in various activities like nurseries, farm works, pruning, fertilizer, site crafting of cocoa, fish fry sexing, feeding and harvesting, post-harvest handling and primary processing, and feed preparation for free-range chicken, pigs, dairy cows, and ducks and fish. Coffee harvesting and processing, ice cream making, rice and tapioca wine making, and all small cottage industry processing. These are some of our guests who have come already. So the girl to the left has successfully bud grafted our cocoa trees to increase the production of the cocoa. And also the family there, the couple on the right, they are very happy picking all our rambutans in the trees. Do you guys have rambutan in the Philippines? You should, right?
Yes.
Yes. So there's still works in progress. Basically, our farm will only reach full maturity in the year 2028. So right now, all the other fruits are still immature except for the cocoa and jackfruits. These are already producing. And upon maturity, we expect to have an operating profit per month of at least 13,000 ringgit or about 167,000 pesos per month, which is about 5 times per hectare per month, which is about 5 times the poverty line of 2,500 ringgit or about 33,000 pesos. More farm activities are to be integrated as it is required for the development of the regenerative farming of Munor Aulai. So not only we create this system, but you could call us the village idiots who are testing out things before we share it to the community. So this is all an experiment. And right now, the experiment has proven to be on track and seems to be successful. Everything seems to check out theoretically and on the ground. And when that happens, we also plan to extend this to the communities around us. We will do in-farm learning to produce agropreneurs among the selected youths from the various communities in the #1 district. The qualifications are very simple. They must be 16 to 13 years old, 30 years old, attended high school, and with access to own or family land measuring about 1 to 2 hectares. That's all that's needed to have the model farm. Now, the training contents will be only 10% theory and 90% farm works, encompassing land preparation, nursery, planting, maintenance, harvesting, and post-harvesting handling. We will also teach them the marketing aspects of things, farm bookkeeping, which is very important, project paper preparation. Training will exercise flexibilities, but performance driven with a training period of 1 to 2 years. We have to make sure that all of them are equipped with the right knowledge and the right mindset before they go down to their farms and engage it themselves. Accommodation, food, and a monthly pocket money of RM100 will be given to the students, and successful trainees will graduate as young agropreneurs and they can start and develop their own respective farms. So, in conclusion, traditional farming is no longer socio-economically and ecologically feasible. In fact, if we don't change how we do our industrial farming, many experts believe that we only have about 50 to 60 years before we totally deplete our soils. There is a need to transition into suitable and sustainable methods of farming via regenerative farming, agroforestry, agroecology, and permaculture. The regenerative farming approach has been adopted for the Munor Aulai farm, and we hope to optimize the capacity of the land to produce with multi-cropping approach for the farm to generate much higher operating profit per hectare per month of at least 13,000 ringgit, again, which is 5 times higher than the national poverty line income. The Munor Aulai regenerative farming approach will be extended to the communities in Sapulut and the other regions or mukims in the district. In the process of farm development and maturity, the farm is expected to sustain soil composition, enhance soil moisture retention, improve crop performance and biodiversity, as well as ecosystem services, and ultimately contribute to the lowering of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. High income and sustainable farming is the way forward to eradicating poverty in the district and ultimately Sabah. Thank you.
Thank you, Sir Borhel, for the presentation, very comprehensive. So may we now open the floor for insights, questions, and clarifications. You have heard or you have seen the presentation and you have heard the detailed explanation of the project, the regenerative and sustainable farming. So we are now opening the floor for questions, clarifications from our attendees.
Oh, by the way, you guys can share the slides. I know I went through it really fast, but there are some statistics and numbers there. So yeah, you guys can share the slide and pour through it whenever.
Yes, thank you.
Hello, good evening.
Yes,
Hi.
Jessica?
Yes, po. My question is, do you have in Malaysia a technology relating to the decrease, how to decrease the greenhouse or the green or the greenhouse gas emission from for example, in rice field. So, do you have still or do you have a technology to reduce the gas emission from the farmland?
So to be fair, I'm not really 100% familiar or know all everything about rice planting in Malaysia. However, to answer your question, rice farming creates a lot of greenhouse gases, firstly through the tillage of the soil, and secondly, through the desertification of the soil from the tillage, and also by leaving it barren for most of the year. Actually, to reduce the total greenhouse gases, what you first need is to enhance soil cover. And also in Malaysia, actually, right now, especially paddy field planting of rice uses a lot of insecticides. And I know the Malaysian government is actively trying to get people to produce more organic rice. And there has been certain success cases, such as a farmer in Long Pasir who produced very high quality organic rice. And he's managed to sell it for about 10 times the price of usual market rate of rice. And also in Barrio, which is in Sarawak, they are also doing organic rice farming there, but they're doing it on a much bigger scale. And over there, they actually produce very high quality rice, and they can even sell it to about 20 times the market price of regular rice. With that being said, though, there is a certain limitation to the marketing of this rice because not everyone can afford 20 times the price of regular rice. So it is still a niche market. I do hope the government pays more attention into this in the future.
Okay, thank you for
Very
the
much. Thank you very much for the
okay, thank you for the question, Jessica and Verhel. Thank you for the answer and the explanation. May I ask something? I am facilitating, but I am just curious of the fish pond water. I am curious of are the feeds of the fish coming from the produce of the farm, or you are making or producing your own organic feeds for the freshwater fish in the ponds.
Yes.
So right now, we have a mix of using commercial feed, which is regular fish feed, and also a mixture of what we have readily available, like tapioca leaves and things like that. We also plant fig trees overhanging over the ponds for two reasons. One, the fishes eat the fig fruits, but two, insects try to eat the fig fruits as well, and they fall into the water, and that would provide a protein source for the fish. Now, we also do, well, this is, we put on a solar light along the fish ponds as well. We've tested this, and at night, actually, insects would come and fly into the pond attracted to the lights, and then the fish go for that as well.
Oh, wow. So
But
that is, yeah,
yeah,
ecosystem at
yep,
play. Yeah,
yep. But in the future, we want to go 100% of all input.
organic feeds.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay, thank you.
Hello. I wanted to ask something.
Yes, rights of nature.
Sorry. Salamat patang. Nama saya Deo. So
Yes, Deo, please. Sorry. Deo, please.
yeah, I'll open my camera.
Okay,
So
thanks.
hi. Uh I believe that tapioca and some of the other crops that you mentioned. So I studied briefly in Brunei before, but now I'm based in the Philippines. So saya tahu saya boleh faham bahasa Melayu tapi sikit saja.
Boleh
Um,
ba?
Boleh, boleh. Uh, I wanted to ask what were the important considerations or factors when it comes to um, finalizing on the integrative farming methods that you employed or utilized? Because I think was it specific weather conditions, the type of plant, the nature of the plants, geographical incidents? I was just wanted to know more about um, some important factors or considerations that went in prior to developing the integrative farming method that you use in Moral. Okay.
Mhm. So, well, I first and foremost, the objective of the farm is to get the most optimized yield per unit hectare of land, while at the same time maintaining or promoting the highest biodiversity available, right? And the easiest way to do that, first and foremost, I'm sure in Brunei you've seen that they have many beautiful primary forests over there, rainforest. And so the main thing is in a primary rainforest, there's not much sunlight that actually hits the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
the
We only
canopies.
Yes, yes. Usual primary rainforest only has about 10, maybe even 20% of sunlight hitting the ground. And this is the natural environment of the land over here. With all of this comes many things. The So we are also one of the oldest rainforests in the world. We're talking about 120 million years. That's most people's estimate. And our forest is actually filled with fungi in the ground. So when we talk about maintaining biodiversity, we are talking about keeping the fungi alive and
Yes.
trying to mimic or trying to rehabilitate these slash and burn areas into what it was before. And so we have regrowing jungles, young jungles, and the best thing or easiest thing to do if you don't want to chase away the biodiversity is to not chop it down again. So we did planting under thinned out jungle, and that leads us to the next question. Which crops can grow under the shade? And that's why we started to pick cocoa, because cocoa is a global commodity, but it does need shade to grow. And also we picked agar wood. Now, agar wood is actually used to make an oil called oud, OUD. Current global prices for the highest grade oil, 1 kilo, is about 115,000 US dollars. Now, this crop is actually an endemic species to Borneo. It is so valuable, even people from our locals, Indonesians, and even some Filipinos come over and poach our jungle reserve for it. Yeah. So we integrated that in between our cocoa because also it's a jungle crop. It can live in the shade. Most of our other crops, like the durian as well, need shade to grow, and its
Yeah.
natural habitat. It's also an endemic species in Malaysia, and its natural habitat is to grow in deeply shaded forested areas. If you come to Sabah recently or even Malaysia recently, you can see many people planting durian. They clear fell everything, and then they use netting shades to provide shade for the durian. To me, that seems a bit absurd. You know, why do you clear fell everything and then put the shade back? Why not just keep the forest and then let the durian grow in the forest? So these are the key considerations that we took place before we decide that we want to include such crops into our planting model.
Yes. Thank you. That
Thank
is very
you.
important. Knowing the place, knowing the forest, knowing the land is very important in the decision and the choice of the plants that you're going to plant in the area. So I saw one question here. Oh, I thought there's a question from the chat box. Yes, there's one question from the chat box, Verhel. If you don't mind, I will read. What
Um,
method other than integrated regenerative farming that what method other than regenerative farming? What are the other methods aside from what you mentioned, integrated regenerative farming that you are using?
Okay. Sorry, moderator Roella, but actually my dad has a little bit more to add in just now. Can I
Sure.
just pass it to him really
Sure,
quickly?
sure, sure.
To add a little bit more to Virgil's answer, very specifically, that piece of land measuring 6 hectares had been farmed repeatedly by the elders and to a large extent had worn out the soil fertility. And for that reason, we think regenerative farming will be the best option out of the all what do you call all methods that we have. So the hope is that, as he said, we only clear part of the forest, young forest, because in regenerative farming, we have to have the soil cover. And therefore, picking the type of crop that can survive under shade to add into the cover so that with that cover, not remove like shifting cultivation or farm rotation practice elsewhere, we hope that the soil will be regenerated again to bring back the fertility to as much as possible to its original state, and even better maybe in the future. We are talking about 5 years, 10 years. I mean, that kind of length of time. Now, there are 4 methods that we had shown: agroforestry, agroecology, permaculture, and regenerative farming. So we picked regenerative farming because of the land condition that we have. And in fact, at the same time, we also practice agroforestry in another area. This is where we integrate crops into the forest. And we are talking about the primary forest, not the secondary forest or secondary growth. And then the choice of the crop is also very important because the crop had to survive under shade, which is much thicker shade. We don't do thinning out, so to speak. We just integrate the crop inside. And of course, crop that we think, tropical crops, include jackfruit, durian, and langsunis. And we have been thinking about integrating vanilla one day. And we have to check that with some friend because vanilla is high value. And we try to plant high value crop because we are talking about small land areas, which is extendable to other landowners whose land are also small. And that's why monocropping will be a waste of the land. So if you do integrated farming, you can plant many crops in the same piece of land. And that's why we have flipped the equation from a normal equation you see for if you are going to do linear programming, like optimizing or maximizing the crop yield as a function of other variable like land, capital, and so on and so on. But in our case now, land is a function of crops as well as the other input. So the measure will be to optimize the capacity of a small land to generate as high income as possible. Remember, the target is to do a very high value farming so that even 1 hectare of farm, if you design and plant the right crop, based on our estimate, you can generate a gross profit of 13,000 up to 15,000 per hectare per month. And that is many times higher than household income, or which is a PLI of 2,589. In fact, 4 to 5 times. And we feel that when we succeed on this one, and I think there are some indication that it's going to be successful. One, it is extended to the community through our agropreneurs. And I think this is the way forward to eradicating poverty in the district and even in Sabah, or even your part of the world,
Yes.
you know. So, and also we try to put forward that against the belief of the villagers that farming is a low level sort of work, that farming is actually is the best kind of profession that you can have. Either you are a school dropout, graduates, or retired like me. I've chosen farming instead of teaching in university, probably, or doing consulting work. So, and I think it's very enjoyable and challenging because it's a new area. So we continue to develop new initiative. We have to be creative, and how we can pull these members of the community who think that whatever we do is kind of strange for now, you know. Probably people like Einstein label as crazy until he has proven that that craziness is something that all of us have to do, right, Father Jojo?
Yes,
So yeah, so
I
I
like
am
that.
one of the crazy one. So okay, I passed to Virgil. Yeah, yeah,
Thank you, Dr. Richard, for that
yeah.
very
Thank you.
comprehensive explanation. So there
Yeah.
are questions in the chat box, and I think Dr. Richard answered them fully. The choices of the plants because of the rainforest and the secondary rainforest, they're planting these kinds of plants because they are suited for the kind of the environment, and regenerative farming, integrated farming, because the specific number of or area of the farm is limited, so they have to do some techniques in order to maximize the is not only producing, but there should be income. That is the goal. Small land with good conditioned soil and good choices of plants, so that you will get the income, and then with the matching biodiversified addition of integration of livestock for fertilizer. So they are, yeah, it's very rich. And before we are going to proceed with the next question, may I check from our participants, from the attendees now, if Pastor Joel is around? I think Pastor Joel is not here, Father Jojo.
He
So
gave up. We will continue the conversation with
yes, we will continue with the conversation because this conversation is getting exciting. We're learning many things. Yeah, because Dr. Richard was saying that we're going to change the mindset, and also Server Hell was saying a while ago that there should be change of mindset, because many parts of the world, the Philippines, wherever, maybe in the western northern part of the world, they're looking farming as really an income generating profession. But in some parts or many parts of the southern part of the world, farming is looked down upon by the
Yeah.
society of the community. They don't like farming. You study well so that you will not go to the farm. But this conversation will give us a fresh look of how farming should be and why farming is like this and that. So it's very interesting. And with the addition of what you mentioned about the youth, I am just curious about the youth. You are training the youth to be able to get into this kind of profession, of this kind of learning. Now, I have a question. If what if, for example, I am a youth, I am very interested with to training, but I don't have the hectares of land. What shall I do? Because yeah, because you have there the qualification, this and that, you have the training. So I am very excited. I am a youth, I am very
Answer
interested,
that.
but
Okay.
where shall I do
Yeah.
the practicum? If I don't have, yes, please
If
enlighten us.
We send you to Dr. Richard and Sir Virgil's farm.
So I think, if I may, I'll touch a bit about the stigma on farming first. Yes.
Yes, yes,
So
please.
I'll start this with a story which happened to me, just actually about a few months ago. So I had to renew my passport because I was flying off to Bhutan, and I went to the immigration department. I said I wanted to renew my passport. They gave me a form. I filled it up, and I went up to the lady officer and I said to her, "Oh, could you please have a look? Maybe I filled up anything wrong or whatever. Maybe I don't understand or whatever." And she said, "Okay, no problem." And she looked through the form and she read it up and down, and her head went like that. And she said, "Oh, everything seems right, but I just want a clarification. You wrote here your occupation is a farmer." And I said, "Yes, that is correct." And then she leaned in and she actually asked, "Really? Are you a farmer?" I was like, "Yes, pretty sure." And then she's like, "No, tell me, what do you actually do?" And I said, "I farm. Would you like to see pictures of my farm?" And I think that stigma exists even with like an officer working with the government or whatever. I believe it comes from the parents. Growing up in Malaysia, especially Sabah, many parents often say, "Oh, go and study hard. If not, you end up working in the farm like me, hard work and things like that." So from a very young age, this gets programmed into their head that farming is not good, it's not productive, it can't bring a good change in your life. That might be true if you do farming the wrong way. But what we know now with sciences, education, we can actually make the world a much better place and for yourself economically as well through sustainable farming. As I mentioned before, the industrial farming landscape has actually only really started about 60, 70 years ago, after World War II. That's when massive pesticides, fertilizer is used. And of course, that brought us very big income for a very short time. And this is what's touched in the Laudato Si encyclical as well. Consumerism, yields, these are all important factors, but they don't think about the longevity or the long-term effects of it. And this has led us to a place where many experts believe if in 50, 60 years we do not change our industrial farming methods, we would not have enough land in the world to feed ourselves, and that would lead to social breakdown and also war and things like that. But in the context of regenerative farming, which I said can have a high biosequestration rate, if the world switches to regenerative or sustainable farming, we actually have enough land at the given moment for about 4 times the world's population. We are still good if we choose to do it the right way. But the mindset has to change from now. We are really running out of time. To put it into simple terms, if you're a farmer doing one harvest a year kind of crop, you only have 50 harvests left before it is total breakdown of society. And this is a very crucial moment. The mindset needs to be changed. Parents need to start or need to stop telling their children that farming is bad, first and foremost. And also, people should be more brave in expressing, like what we are doing. Like I said, me and my dad, we could be the village idiots. And you need to be brave in trying something new in order to change that mindset.
Try to answer a question.
Yeah. And my dad wants to add a little bit more, if he
Sure.
may.
Last question was, if you don't have land, what would you do? Okay. What happened? The condition for us to choose the participant that they have at least 1 acre to 2 hectares. Failing which, and if we don't get those with land, we can still admit those without land. You come and train. After you are trained, you just go to your neighbor who has a piece of land but not developed. You say, can we farm in this piece of land, say 2 hectares? And we can do like 60-40. The landowner will get 40%, and the farmer who is doing the farming will get 60% of the gross profit. Why I use gross profit? Because we talk about return to labor. We don't talk about net profit and all these things, because the farmer get that share of the income after deducting your direct costs, like fertilizer and whatever input, so you have your return to labor. Now, 60% of, say, 13,000 minimum, what is it? About 8,000. And that is a lot of money. Then you're doing what the state and the federal government are doing, who are running a lot of program to help rural development, to improve the livelihood of the communities. But their income is well below the poverty line of 2,500. If you get 7,000, that is almost 3 times the poverty line. So you can still farm in other people land. Make sure that you don't let the landowner know how to do the farming, so you can stay longer. Okay, so I think good. And then if this guy can farm in someone else's land and he can save some money, finally he can buy land. Let's say 10,000 per acre, like 25,000 per hectare. They can move his own land. So there are things that we can do even if you don't have land.
Okay, thank you. Thank
Okay,
you for
that's
the
answer your question, right?
yes.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah,
So we continue. So we have
yeah.
other questions from our participants. So I think everybody now is inspired to get into farming. Yeah, now I wanted to go home and till our land. Yeah, because my parents are
Roella,
aging, so they are not into much as what they were used to in the farm. Yeah,
No.
so there must be next
Um,
generation.
I agree.
So do we have
I can,
questions? Do
yeah,
we
I
have
add a little bit more on this one.
sure,
Hopefully, with
please.
this model farm, we can extend it to the community. In the long run, we can stop this rural urban migration, and then we can bring back people who had migrated to do work elsewhere
Yes.
or is barely surviving.
Yeah.
So minimum wage is still lower than the poverty line that we have, let's say 1,700 ringgit now, still lower than 2,500. So this is what we hope. And for those who are not convinced about farming as the way forward, I keep on telling the youth that um, to be a clerk or to be an officer, to be a head of department, I know how much they earn. Some probably higher than 10,000, but most of them below 8,000 or 7,000. And here, if you can farm 1 hectare and you generate 13,000 and higher, you're much better off than even the district officer, who is the biggest person in the district, or anybody else holding high position in government. And even those in private sector, if they are working for other people. Here, you will be your own boss and you determine what you want to do. And the limit is yourself, how far you want to go. So I think this is a kind of motivation talk that we want to start them with to change their mindset.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, change of mindset because um the city is now congested with so many people. And then you are right, there are so many vast lands, idle lands, not touched by people because everybody wants to live in the city. Okay, so other questions before I have another question from myself. Do you have questions or insights that you want to share? May I ask we have many here. I please do not hesitate to open your microphone.
Good evening.
Yes, Aljumar.
I'm just gonna share some realization and
Yeah,
insights and practices from our province. So, may I introduce first myself? I'm
please.
Aljimar Gitang from Masek Youth, Marinduque Council for Environmental Concern here in the Philippines. So, I have a recently realization here in our province. In the earlier years, around 2010 and below, peoples in the community in the urban and the rural area in the mountains bring crops to the city. But nowadays, people from the mountains goes down to the city and bring crops to their mountain. It become reverse. So the practice or the solution that we made in this issue is that we share to the youth the importance,
Sorry, what happened to our screen? I'm sorry, Aljamar, one moment. I don't know what happened. Why do we have the blackboard?
Yes, I don't know as well.
Please,
I will stop participant sharing.
please.
Erase the blackboard.
Yeah, just erase. Yeah.
Okay, Aljamar, please. I'm sorry. Continue, please.
So to solve this problem, our organization try to educate people and capacitate them the importance of farming, since as we all know, Philippines is within the typhoon belt and a very tropical uh, area, so we are facing lots of floods and disasters. So we focuses on planting root crops like cassava and sweet potatoes and something like that. And also I want to answer also to the question, if you don't have a land, how can you uh, uh, plant products, plants and root crops? Because in our organization we practice the um, community garden, where there a specific piece of land, together with the barangay or the village, we plant in a single land, and when it bear fruits or vegetable, it's either we share the crops or the harvested crop, or we sell the crop, then we use the money to aid our fellow members. Just to share.
Okay. Thank you, Aljamar. So that is what is happening now in the rural
Question.
Philippines. We have these community gardens, and it's like reversing the people from the villages, rural area. They have the produce, and the people in the city are taking or buying the produce. But what we are starting, I hope, Aljamar, in the long run, we will be able to expand our um, porok, or how do you call that, village project into a bigger scope to be able to get higher income, right, Richard? So now it's minimal, just to bring the community together to start loving the land, preparing the land to produce the root crops or the common vegetables. So this is not much of business economics in agriculture, but it's more on community engagement to be able
Yes.
to produce food for the
Yes.
community and a little income. But
Actually,
we hope
yeah,
it will expand.
touching on that a bit, I think it's important for even the, let's say, urban people or whatever, although they have no possibility of being a farmer because they're in the
Have
city
no
and
lands, yes.
working and have no lands. But I think it's also important that they get into the idea of sustainable organic farming and things like that, because you see, if even if farmers do organic farming, their yield might reduce initially, but then if they have a market of higher value, people who are knowledgeable, who are more exposed and are willing to pay a higher price, they understand that, yes, when you do organic farming, your yields might be a bit less than conventional fertilizer insecticide farming, but it is healthier and they're willing to pay for that product. This will also help the farmer and ultimately reduce or eliminate that stigma against farming as well.
it starts with a mindset, because some people do not buy goods from the rural area if the farmers are not known. If you are not a big time company for farming, it's very difficult to market your products. Yeah, that is one of our sad experiences in most of our communities in the Philippines. Okay, thank you, Aljumar. Thank you, Richard. We continue. We still have, maybe we can have two more questions or rejoinders, insights, because it's already 9:11. So we have the young people here. I hope you are inspired or motivated to imagine or envision the life of tilling the land and producing products using the regenerative integrated farming method. Some other, yes. Yeah, please sign the attendance. The attendance link is in the chat box for our documents and for further communication. If we have conversations like this is helpful.
Good evening again.
Yes, Jessica, you are back with
I
another
have a
question,
question
please.
to our presenter. Sir, in Malaysia, there is an research institute that already studied the regenerative farming, and how big now is uh, the 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 farming technology of regenerative in Malaysia, and what is the impact of this to the rural area or ordinary farmers?
So our biggest research institute, which is run by the government, is called MARDI, Malaysian Agriculture Research Development Institute. And unfortunately, I've had the privilege of speaking to the head of department, which is running on the sustainable and regenerative farming side. She says that there is not enough attention or political will and even funding. So she claims that even in Mardi, which is the biggest and basically the go-to guide for most of the farmers in Malaysia, whatever circle they put out. But then she says that it is not big enough and they don't have enough funding or researchers to be in that. In Malaysia, they're still very much focused on monocrop production. Like I said, we learned farming from the British. And just to give you a quick idea, during the war period, rubber was needed for the war efforts. And so the British plantations were all focused on making rubber. Now, not many people know this, but Malaysia used to be first and second biggest producer of rubber in the world. But then after the war ended, synthetic rubber, vulcanized rubber is created. We basically chopped down all of the rubber and converted it into cocoa. And not many people know this, but Malaysia used to be number 3 biggest cocoa producer in the world.
Oh.
But what we also learned from that experience is that cocoa cannot be done in a monocrop setting because when diseases set in, it will spread. Coupled with the drop in cocoa prices in the late 80s, early 90s, we chopped it all down and planted oil palm. And then Malaysia became the biggest producer of oil palm in the world and now number 2. So the smallholders actually follow only what the plantations are doing, which might not be suitable for them because these plantations actually have economies of scale, which a smallholder does not. But still until today, because how the Malaysian Agriculture Research Department Development Institute is doing things and researching and focusing on what makes money for the country, not much attention or technologies are developed for the regenerative farming.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. It's informative again.
Um, can I add a little bit to
Sure.
what has been said? In fact, I was watching a video on regenerative farming on poultry rearing. Like poultry is for meat and then layers. And he was showing how it is done under and around his coconut. And this is like a kind of activity while waiting for the coconut to mature. And he was just trying to prove that regenerative farming can improve the soil. And this is the one of the objective of regenerative farming. But my criticism is that was not he did not factor in like farming that should generate the highest possible income or optimum income per unit area, and therefore the optimum profit per unit area if we are talking about 1 hectare. So actually regenerative farming can move towards that because it improves crop performance because soil improve over in the long run. And that's why it can be sustained and you can have this land used over and over again if you look after it. Yeah. So that is there are already regenerative farming in Malaysia, but the Pinang Association is like an NGO. They have been promoting agroecology methods of farming. And again, addressing the environment, improving the ecosystem, and so on and so on, and together with the soil. Yeah, that's the other system. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Can I speak?
Answer his question.
Can I?
Yes,
I'm
yes,
Andre.
please continue, Ma'am Josephine.
Yeah, I'm Andre Lim, the wife of Josephine, the husband of Josephine.
Ah, okay, sorry. Yeah. Please.
I'm by the way, I'm a Filipino Chinese, and I've been teaching Korean natural farming method for more than 20 years in the Philippines, all over the country. And right now, it adopted the technology of Jedam, which is the son of the proponent of Korean natural farming. Jedam is a three Korean word, means people resembling nature. Now, I just heard from somebody said that if you do organic agriculture, eventually you will have less yield. Now, this is a myth before. It organic agriculture started way back. They call it organic farming. This organic farming is just using manure as a base into the soil, and it will not immediately have immediate effect on the soil. But organic agriculture technology evolves, and the new technology that are coming in right now is not the same as the old technology. It has
Yeah.
improved a lot already, and it even surpasses conventional farming already. Now, uh, the means about organic agriculture, if you apply it now, it will take you around 1 year to 2 years to see a bountiful harvest. That's the
Mm.
wrong means already. Right now, with the technology that I'm teaching, if you apply the whole program that I teach, you will see the effect right now, not after 1 year or 2 years. What our main host was saying about regenerative farming, ecological farming, that we applied that also into the JEDAM system of farming, because the key factor here is the soil. The key factor
Mm.
here is the environment that you set up. That's true. But the key factor here, the most important part of all, is the microorganism in the soil.
Yes, yes.
That is the main factor. That is the most common thing that is not done way back when organic agriculture was introduced. They do not understand the functions of the microorganism in the soil, which is the crucial part than the
Yes.
fertilizer part. Without the
Yes.
microbes in the soil doing their functions in the soil, you will never see the good result.
Yes.
That's why our program is focused on microbes more. Then we teach you how to do the fertilizer with the organic fertilizer that we teach you. There are two organic fertilizer that we make. One is the liquid form. One is the basal form. The basal will be the manure mixed with carbon together with the microbes. It decomposes a lot fast, and this will be the basal fertilizer. The liquid fertilizer is composed of all waste that are surrounding your area. So it's a program, it's a system, it's a program that we teach how to apply all these things in a farm. Okay. Now it will reduce completely your your input cost completely. It will reduce everything because you are the one who are making all these things. You don't buy it from the supermarket, or you don't buy it in the agricultural stores. All these things, majority are waste in the farm. So this is what I'm going to just share to you guys, that there is a
Yes.
technology that you can uh, look into, that had,
Okay.
that will benefit a lot of farmers. Those myths before about organic agriculture is just a myth already. It's not true. The fact is technology evolves, technology improves, even organic agriculture, technology improves and evolves, and it changes, and it is faster even right now compared to conventional farming. So that's my two contribution to you guys. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you. Thank you very
Thank
much
you.
for that contribution. Yes, we always
If I
forget the
may.
microorganisms. The microorganisms play a very important role in farming and even in the recycling of the earth's nutrients. So sometimes because we don't see them often, so we always forget them. But yeah, that's very true. We This very important
If I may add a
factor.
little bit to what
Ah, yes, yes,
the
please.
husband of Josephine said just now, first
Yeah.
and foremost, I was actually supposed to attend the Jadam course in Kota Kinabalu. Unfortunately, I could not have made it. I had guests at that time and I was pulled to work. So, but I actually registered for the Jadam course. I just could not make it. I'm so sorry. Yeah.
Okay.
But secondly, to say that to see the effects immediately, that's also very true. You see, when we planted our cocoa, we did under jungle planting, and it was in the last season of El Nino, and for that in Sabah it was really bad. We had almost 10 months of no rain. Imagine a rainforest without rain for 10 months. There was bushfires everywhere. It was quite critical. However, we were part actually of a government program to increase the cocoa count in Sabah. And, we and about 13 other farmers all planted cocoa at the same time during this long drought. And what we noticed was the other farmers, the mortality rate of their cocoa when they transferred it into the field, some of them even reached 70%. So out of 10 trees that they planted or cocoa plants that they put in the ground, 7 died. For us, our mortality rate was under 2%. We believe that that is because of the microbes in the ground and the environmental services that the jungles provided to our cocoa. And henceforth, we were able to produce output or harvest our cocoa much quicker than everyone else. Most people will put back a year, we were a year ahead. Um, and lastly, about the microbes, very important topic here. For us, I regret I did not make it to the Jadam course. I would love to learn more about how to restore microbes and to enhance microbes into the soil. But for us right now, for cocoa and things like that, we actually use, this is all packaged microbes. There are factories producing it now, but we use it as organic fungicides for cocoa. And also, we are having this Johnson Su bioreactor, which is exactly like what you said, using materials from all around us to increase the microbial count in the soil, which will then decompose the organic matter into usable nutrients for the plants to use. Actually, this is not a new technology. The Amazonian people have used it for thousands of years, and the Spanish conquistadors nicknamed it terra preta. And so yes, we will be we have tested it, made it in our farm. We have yet to mature it and test it. And once we do, hopefully it gives good results. And then we will also share this technology to the farmers, because exactly like what you said, your input costs would dramatically go down. And that affects your bottom profit line. And that's what we call optimizing profits, not maximizing profits. So thank you very much for that sharing.
Anyway,
Okay, thank you.
yeah.
Can we, it's already 9:29, but I think we can have the last one, Shashira.
Hello, I am Shashira from Sri Lanka,
Yes, please.
alumni of All Forum. It was really inspirational that Dr. Richard and Mr. Virgil for your sharing. And in Sri Lanka, the situation is that agriculture is the main thing in Sri Lanka. And among the young generations, their idea about farming is has a little bit not good. Because that, as you also shared, the mindset has to be changed, because they think that farming as a low-level job or something not good. But they forget that the farming is really important, and the food and everything is received through farming. And that in the old days, in ancient times, even in Sri Lanka, there's a saying, the farmer is ready to become a king once he's washed up his muds from farming. But it says that the farmer is really educated and well known about the environment and everything, that he's very educated. And that recently we are implementing a project called EcoForce to educate young people and the students about farming, the value of farming, and how to do farming, and with technology and in scientific way. In that way, that it's really, I was really surprised and to see what Dr. Richard and Mr. Virgil do in their area and the project. And I would like to get more information about your mission, and if there is any website or any video YouTube channel we can know more, and so I can use those videos to inspire our young generation in Sri Lanka. And really thank you very much for your inspiration and what you are doing.
As of now, we don't have any platform that you could follow this on. It is very much still an experiment. However, I've constantly been asked, especially by my mother-in-law and also my well, I'm working with Tan Sri Andrew Sheng in the Omni Village project, and he's also constantly has asked me to try to get into social media and things like that to educate and to expose what we're doing. But yeah, thank you for those words. It gives me more inspiration and more reason to do so. I'm actually not very, I'm always the guy behind the camera, not in front of the camera, so to say. So yeah, hopefully one day I'll have enough courage and discipline to start doing it and share the information to the world. Thank you.
Okay. As much
But
as we wanted to continue, but it's already beyond the time, and then others have other scheduled appointments. So I would like to propose to end this conversation. It's already 9:33. And um
before you go, can I get a
ah
last, just
okay,
one?
okay, okay.
Okay, I can give, you can work out another Zoom that I can teach on microorganism. The function is just half an hour lecture on microorganism, because that is very crucial. If your group is interested, then you can set up a Zoom for me, and I can teach you about the functions of the microbes in 30 minutes. So next time.
I will attend that Zoom definitely.
Okay, so that is a good
Very
proposal.
interesting.
I think the organizer of this conversation can take note of that, can consider. And if we can get your contact details in the chat box so that we can communicate, somebody can communicate. So before we end, say goodbye, may I request each one for photo? So if it's possible to open your camera and we can see your inspired and motivated expressions and faces, so we can snap. Okay. Others, if possible, please open your camera and give your inspiration. Okay, everybody is inspired and motivated to go back to. Okay, please take a photo now, Miss Ray.
So I'll
Or
start
Leo, okay.
one. And please don't send
Smile,
anything to
please.
the chat in the chat because you'll block a person. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so that's one photo. So another one. 1, 2, 3. Oh wait, someone
Okay.
entered in the waiting room. Oh no. So
Okay, thank you so much. And then we have now the number of Mr. Gamboa. So please take note of this secretariat for future engagement. Okay, so we started with a prayer and we end with a prayer. We thank God again for a wonderful conversation, very insightful, and we have the generosity of each one to listen and to engage in the discussion. So we have learned a lot, and then we praise God for the gifts that He has given us and being shared to one another. We hope that these gifts will be fully used, not only us, but will be shared to others as well. And we pray for the wisdom to open the minds and change the mindset of those people who are closed and those who do not see yet the beauty of tilling the land, of producing food, and optimizing what God has given us. This we pray through Christ our Lord.
Amen.
Amen. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Thank you very much, Dr. Richard and Sir Virgil, for this wonderful evening of fruitful conversation and sharing your project. It's very inspiring and motivating.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
May
Thank
I just
you.
add in?
Thank you so much,
Heidi,
everyone.
Arlene,
Like,
and
housekeeping.
Lori.
Yeah.
For
Thank you.
for those who haven't signed the attendance